So about a year ago, John at Peach Guitars gave me a gift, actually, and I don't want to tell you how good of a customer you have to be at a guitar shop to get a gift, but quite a good customer. But actually, no, I'd obviously made quite a lot of content at Peach, and he wanted me to try out this BrownBox by AmpRX. And today's video is really me trying to decide what difference this box makes, because I've had it for about a year. I've used it on and off. But first of all, should we explain what it does? And the reason I'm making this video, someone asked me earlier in the week if I use a power conditioner. And I'd asked for questions, and if you haven't been on my channel before, I'm doing a big giveaway at the moment for my 12,000 sub giveaway. That's going to be announced on Friday. Now, you can win a set of PAFs made by, so that's humbuckers PAFs made by Sunbear Pickups. Really highly sought after, and Stuart at Sunbear has really kindly decided to give away a set. We're good friends, and I often use, well, I pretty much exclusively use his pickups now, except for when I'm trying others. All you have to do is go to the video that's in the link in the description and also the first comment, watch the video, see what you have to comment in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. And on Friday, I'm going to pick a name from people who have commented on that video, and one of you will win a set of PAFs, which is very cool, I think. And you could choose from his 57s, 58s, 59s. I'd originally said his 59s, but actually Stuart's happy for you to pick, and you can pick the colour of the cover and how aged it is. And I assume also whether it's 2-wire or 4-wire. 2-wire or 4-wire. Anyway, before we dive into the sounds and whether this box makes any difference to the actual tones, because that's what they say it does, let me just show you how it works. Okay, hopefully you can see on the screen there, it says 241 volts. That's what's coming out of my wall, because at the moment, this is fully bypassed, so you can have it bypassed here. And that can jump up even from 241, and obviously when you have too high a voltage, maybe you're running your tubes too hot, that's not good for the safety of them. But in brief, this is how it works. So you have your active reduction here. Let's say I go down 2 notches, I'm getting to 231. And then the attenuation here, you can sort of play around within a certain range, depending on which one of these you are. That says 213, 208, 203. I can even change that as low as it goes, 194. Sometimes that says 192, 193, 194. It changes depending on what's coming out of your wall. The least attenuation on that setting, for example, is 220, 225, 230. I can change that to something else. So you can see it's very simple, and it allows you to really fine tune that. I think it's called BrownBox based on, is it Van Halen, who used a sort of variac to give him the brown sound? I'm not completely familiar with that. It's just something I've heard, you know, over the years. I'm pretty sure he would turn down the voltage of his amps to increase the gain. Yeah, that's the way I can think of it. The other cool thing is you can actually plug 2 amps into here. I'll show you that properly. But it's so simple. More importantly than how it works, because it's so easy, what difference does it make? Now, I first set off recording a more gainy sound to see what the difference was, but I've decided in the end to show you the clean clips first, because I think that's where we see the biggest difference. And I wasn't actually sure there was a huge difference. Now, I'm going to be playing my Bartel Starwood amp in its blackface setting, and I'm going to have a decibel meter in the corner of the clip, because I figured if it's changing the voltage, it must change something. You know, the volume must change, as well as how much gain there is in the amp, or how the frequencies work. And I was quite surprised actually, because I'd literally never sat here in a year and just tested it back and forth. I used it to keep my voltage at the right level. Today I'm using my Gibson SG, it's the gold 64 reissue. I know a lot of people who watch the channel love this guitar. The clean sounds are fantastic. These are actually the 59 Sunbear PAFs. So if you like this clean sound, that's what you're hearing. Okay, let's just hear it at 240 volts. Okay, now I'm going to drop it to the lowest I can get it to go, 192. And let's hear somewhere in the middle of the two. Okay, I will play those back to back in a second, but I noticed once I dropped to 192 that I lost some fullness in the sound, especially the low end. It became a bit spikier at the top end, like there was less gain in the top end. And importantly as well, the feeling changed quite a lot. It felt a bit more brittle, less sustain, and less sweet sounding. And overall, yeah, it did feel noticeably quieter in the room. I don't know what we could see on the dB meter exactly there. Don't forget that 3 dB is double volume, so that's how that scale works. Right, let's hear a brief clip of the different voltages back to back a few different ways here. And actually, I want to show you something on the screen here which really surprised me. You can see I haven't changed anything to do with my mic preamps or changed the volume on the actual computer editing software. But look at this. Look how much lower the volume looks on the 192 and then various other voltages. and then the 240, you can literally see how the microphones pick up that audio. It's really shows you the picture a lot more. So what I'm going to do at the end, I'd actually recorded it with a bit more gain in the Tweed setting of the Bartel. And I feel like you can hear and feel less difference in the Tweed setting than you can in the clean setting. That makes sense to me as well. But there is still a small difference. The 240 volts just has a bit more bass and a bit more overall sustain and smoothness to it. It's not as huge of a difference as I thought. The cleans were a really big difference. So especially if you're playing cleans a lot, I think that's where it's most noticeable, and that makes sense because you're really just hearing that clean sound, and any difference makes a big difference. So yeah, I'm going to play the video out. It was just a quick one today, really. I promised I would do a video every day this week, but I've got 2 young puppies at the moment, and no one else in the house to help me. So I'm having to find little gaps between when I can manage to put them down for a nap. Yeah, maybe I should include some clips of them in future videos. That might get more likes. But anyway, I thought this was really interesting. If you've been wondering whether you should get a BrownBox or something similar, they can come in 220 to 240 volts for use in the UK, but also come in 110 to 130 volts, I think it is, which if you have American import amps, you can use here somehow. And they're not that cheap, 400 and odd quid, I think. If you've got, if you're running your amps a lot and they're running at the wrong voltage, over time, you're going to have to service that amp more. But I would say that apart from, okay, if you're playing at home a lot, many hours a week, and you have your amps on a lot, then it makes sense. But I would say this is really great for giggers. People who are gigging, take this along, plug it into the wall, and get the voltage that you know you want. And another thing I forgot to mention, maybe I will have mentioned it in the little thing that shows you how this works, but the fact that you can plug 2 amps into one thing, you just need 2 of these cables. And by the way, this is an IEC cable and it's female to male. You can get them for 5 quid on Amazon. I think it's quite worth it for people who gig reasonably often. If you're earning little bits of money from it, or if you're a big touring gigger, then great, yeah, definitely. And if you're a session guy, take it along to sessions. It's definitely doing no harm, and we can see from today that it actually makes a difference in your sound and your tone. Right, so I'm going to keep mine plugged in all the time now, which I hadn't been. I just sort of used it here and there. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. I've got a couple of big things coming over the next few days. Apart from the giveaway on Friday, I've got a big amp on loan from Coda that just arrived half an hour ago. I haven't even opened the box. And I've got another amp from Peach on its way today as well. Both from the same amp maker. I'll show you a little clip here that won't give it all away. Right, okay, the Tweed clips to follow, and I'll see you tomorrow.